DST back in the building, bitches. And all I could say was watching that. Woo, that was a Packers game. Oh, the number one in the NFC North. They're only 4-1. The Packers have been playing tremendously off a continuous good running game, something they had lacked over the past few seasons. Over having Deshaun Kaiser as a backup quarterback the time when Aaron Rodgers was injured, even though he was 7 weeks gone the previous season ago. Losing to Philly in a tough one with not that well done play calling and overthrowing it and causing some overthrowing it in red zone possessions. They played pretty conservatively and played pretty smart against the Green Bay Packers in the first half. Second half really went over the dome of the Dallas Cowboys over not utilizing Ezekiel Elliott, overthrowing the football a lot, terrible play calling defensively, just letting out Aaron Jones just spread up the gut and continue getting first downs. And uh, Dak Prescott did play pretty well in the second half, but he threw 2 extra picks in red zone possessions. He even threw one over to Amari Cooper that he dropped and got intercepted. The guys that got the interceptions were pretty fucking surprising. One coming out of Jareer Alexander, the other one coming straight from Cordon Sullivan, and there was a third one. I think it came from it came from Kevin King from the red zone that went perfect from tackle percentages. And Will Raymond and Kevin King were combined for 12 tackles. The rest of the team continued to get sacks. Zadarius Smith played well. Shaman Williams played well. And Dak Prescott continued to get pressured off. That Zadarius Smith got like 2 sacks with a big tackle on Ezekiel Elliott that only had like 62 yards rushing with 12 carries. He did score a touchdown up in the red zone, but you know how easy it could have been to tie up the game 34-34 if they just used more toss plays or use slip screens. He got some good passes later in the game when he actually gave only his first. It took me a while to remember that Jason Witten didn't catch a football until the fucking fourth quarter, and then kept chucking up Randall Cobb, and kept chucking it up to Michael Gallup that had a big post route run up to the end zone off a deep pass play. Amari Cooper was the premier target with 222 yards. And big ups to Michael Gallup as well. But by God, I felt like the play calling was really pedestrian. And I've seen the Cowboys play better. The NFC East, I talked about this before in my Giants review. And of course, my Eagles and Jets review, a recap of the games. That I feel like this is the most on and off NFC East I've seen in a long time. Because we know how the Cowboys went up winning I think 7 straight games, and led the Eagles just came back just out of nowhere, but the Cowboys still made it to the playoffs and got shut down in a wild card. So obviously, I don't think people still think this is a contending team. When I thought that they played sort of like shit. Cowboys played sort of shit and they didn't utilize the pieces they had. They didn't blitz until later into the quarter. They thought of zoning out and think they can guard. And let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing about this entire team. The receiving player thinks Devontae Adams got injured in their last game against Philly. Fucking the leading receiver and the leading rusher is Aaron Jones, and he only rushed 107 with 19 carries. And he already tied the franchise high with 4 touchdowns in a game. That's how much they didn't have to utilize Aaron Rodgers passing. And somehow this entire role was reversed because we thought the combo would be Ezekiel giving it over to Dak and shit. It was totally Packers ball when they had that 17 up lead. And then it came to Dak noticing that, oh, I may be chucking up the football when I know I go like incompletes off third down conversions. And sometimes maybe my O line's a bit overrated. Maybe we're doing something wrong here. Because I did not see anybody from the offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys show up. No, nobody. Nobody. Tyron Smith was getting through a lot. So was Connor Williams, Travis Frederick. That's supposed to be the top center in the team, pretty much the Pro Bowling center. And Zach Martin, he's supposed to be premier offensive lineman. They weren't doing well off blitzes. Dak was just carrying out. He did perform well, carrying the football down the pocket when he needed to the most. But by God, I felt like the Cowboys just played pedestrian. Even for my sake, I'm not a Cowboys fan. I know a lot of people on the internet, or at least people around the globe, that are massive Cowboy fans. But you got to be realistic here. You guys got a lot more competitive games going up. You guys just went through a crappy, tough game. You have a tough game scheduled when you face off against. Tomorrow you got the Jets. But you got Philly. And you got the Giants that's been performing pretty decently as of late on prime time. So I wouldn't sleep on week 7, week 9. You can obviously come back after a tough game against Green Bay back on Sunday. So I'm saying you guys got it a little bit of a safety little win, even though you guys been losing 2 straight against a team without Devontae Adams. And then you lose to a team without Drew Brees. And you know how pedestrian you guys play calling wise, and how much our amazing esteemed head coach hasn't got us still to a playoff win yet. And our dynamic duo of Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott still play pedestrian. How you guys have a low scoring game and then you have a high scoring game and you play like crap. And you made Aaron Jones run circles and catch the ball over everybody's head. Jimmy Graham showed up later on to the game and kept catching those short route passes. And Aaron Jones continue short pass, curl, run up, short pass, off a passing screen, run up, get that first down. He kept doing that. The second most receiving yards didn't even go over 25 yards. It was Trey Carson. They didn't need that much to beat you guys in your half-ass zone defense and your ridiculous time to blitz. And didn't you guys only have like one forced fumble the entire game? Playing that crap when you made like Jake Kemerow catch a football, Marcellus Lewis catch a football, and I was expecting a lot more from their defense as well. A lot more. Somehow DeMarcus Lawrence only had 1 tackle. So did Sean Lee. Somehow only Robert Quinn and Xavier Woods and Jalen Smith were just there off the backfield. This was not the best performance I've seen off the Cowboys, and I saw the Saints game, and that was worse. I'm saying you guys gotta pick up your shit if you're thinking that people are still going to believe the hype that you guys on paper are still going to be leaders of the NFC East, even though I believe it as well. I feel like the Eagles are losing a bit of their touch, and most of their receivers are not the same, and their defense got crouched down a bit. So I feel like you guys can still take over the division, but losing 2 straight is not the best way to do it. And the Packers are picking it up. The Aaron Rodgers obviously ain't giving a shit if he doesn't score a touchdown or not. If he plays conservatively, plays smart, and makes his team do the best of their ability, they're gonna make it. That's why they're 4-1, and that's why you guys are 3-2 now. So blow out the Jets at least by 30. It's the Jets. It's not because they have Sam Darnold. I really think they're mediocre as shit with or without him. So yeah, beat the Jets. the Packers. God. Oh God, the Packers. You guys got Detroit. They got a draw in the second. They're second best in the in the NFC North somehow. So stuff has to change up, even though like statistically, Matthew Stafford is a Pro Bowling quarterback. Yet he has no effectiveness to make his team go, other than one short shootout to a wild card game in the first half, and just gets shut out because most of his team, and there's not much into his team other than on Johnson, Matt Patricia, thinking that he knows how to coach a defense that only has like a few good defensive backs and guys that are getting way too overpaid. So that's my opinion. That's my recap on this game. The Cowboys deserve this loss as much as the Cowboys fans deserve to breathe. And that's my God. That's my recap on the Packers and Cowboys games. More recaps coming down your way before week 6 start. Week start 6 already started with the Thursday night game. Just until Sunday starts. So that's a cleaner way of going with it. I'll take it.